basic pattern. So you want to start by drawing a straight point, which is going to be the shoulder line. All right. Now I will take the shoulder measurement divided by 2. Remember, we are working on a friendly beginner project. So my shoulder measurement is 14 divided by 2 is going to give me 7. I will come here, I'm going to slant it down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope because your shoulder is not straight. Now, to get the armhole there is either you take whatever you had from this point to this point, which is your shoulder divided by 2, or you go ahead and take your round bust divided by 6, then you add 1.5 to it. The either way is going to give you the same result, okay? So mine is 7.5. I will mark that up here. Now, I will go ahead now, connect this up with straight line from here to here like that, and mark this point up. I'm gonna roll these lines up like this, straight line. All right. Now that I am done doing so, the next thing I'm going to do is I will mark the neck depth and the neck width, the basic neck depth and the basic neck width, which is 3 by 3. Or you take the round neck, divide it by 6. Whatever you have, you're going to go ahead and mark that up. I marked 3 here and I've also marked 3 here. So what I'm going to do right now is to connect the points up together like this. Once I am done doing so, I'll connect this up to make this point up. Right, so that's the shoulder slope. Now that I am done connecting that part, I will measure up whatever I have from this point to this point. I divide it into 2. So what I have there is 7.5 divided by 2 is going to give me 3.075, closely to 4 inch, but not 4 inch. I'm going to go in by 3/4 inch. You can do 1 inch, it's up to you. Now I will come here. This is the chest line, right? I'm going to put 1/4 of the round bust I am working at. The round bust I'm working at is 35 divided by 4 is going to give me 8.075, which is right there, which is right here. You can see 8.075. I'm going to go ahead now and mark this point up. Once I am done marking the points up, I'm going to be connecting this point to make up this one and also connect this point to make up this other one, like this. If you don't have a curve ruler, you can go ahead, a French curve, you can go ahead and use your free hand, okay? It's fine. So I'm making sure everything is intact. Look at the way I am doing it, taking my time from here all the way, making sure that everything comes up smoothly and nice. All right, you can see that, right? Now that I am done doing so, the next thing I'm going to do is to mark. This is a very basic, like I said, a beginner project, okay? So I'm going to go ahead now and mark from the shoulder to the line of the top you're working on. Normally, a top, this type of basic top, they will normally end on your waistline. For me, my waistline is normally between 15 and 16. All right, so I'm going to mark my waistline, which is right there. Remember, from the shoulder to this part, from the shoulder all the way to the waistline. If you want to increase it now to the hip line, you can go ahead and do so. All right, so from the waist, from the shoulder to the waistline. Okay, now I will go ahead now, connect this part up with the straight line. Now that I am done connecting it up with the straight line, the next thing I want to do is we are going to mark where our dart is going to go. The dart is the nipple to nipple, divide it into 2. So my nipple to nipple is 7 inch, divided into 2 is going to give me 3.5. I will go ahead now, roll these lines up with a straight line. Now we have rolled a straight line. What I'm going to do at this point to get the, if you don't want to measure from the shoulder to the bust point, to get the bust point, you normally go down from your chest line by 2 inch or even 2.5 inch. All right, this is my chest, this is my bust point line. So if I measure it up like that, you can see that I have exactly 10.5, which is my bust point. So to get the bust point, just go down from your chest line by 2 inch. That is going to be your bust point line. So this is my bust point line. You can see, right? I just wrote this line so you should know that this is my bust point line. Normally, I was not supposed to draw this line up. I was just supposed to mark a point here. But just for you to put it in your head and know that this is the bust point line. All right, so let me put it here. Bust. And then this is the waist. And here is the chest, okay? So here is the shoulder. That's an X. So you know already that. So I'm going to come here and mark 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch both sides. This is just a beginner tutorial. Okay, so I'll connect it up now. From that half inch that I mark, I'm going to connect it up to meet that bust point line from here, and I'm going to do it up here as well. From this point, I also connect these points up. Can you see that? Now the next thing I'm going to do is, here we already have the bust measurement. That's 1/4 of the bust measurement. What I'm going to do is to come to the waist. I'm going to put 1/4 of the round waist measurement. So my round waist is 30. 30 divided by 4 is going to give me 7.5. Remember, I took half inch and half inch. You're supposed to replace that allowance up, okay? But this is my pattern. I will not be adding up this allowance. But whenever you are drafting a pattern that you're going to use to cut a dress, always replace back that allowance, okay? So I'm going to go ahead now and connect those points up like this. So we have the basic front, okay? This is the front of it. Now let me go ahead now and drag up the back before we go ahead and cut it up. I'm gonna just place it on it here. All right, so I'll go ahead now and draw a straight line like we did. Remember, I said I'm going to be taking you step by step. So draw a straight line, which is right there. From that straight line, what we are going to do is to go ahead, take the shoulder measurement divided by 2, which mine is 14, divided by 2 is going to give me 7 inch. I'm going to slant it down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. Now, after slanting it down, I'm move now to the armhole depth. Remember, I said you could either use your shoulder measurement or you take the round bust, divide it by 6, then you add 1.5 inch to it. I'm going to connect these points up like that, making sure I have this point. I will rule a straight line like I did for the front pattern. Now that I am done doing so, you're going to see that when we are working on the back, the neck depth of the back is different from the front. Okay, the front can be deep by 3 inch, but the back, the highest should be, this is a basic, the highest should be 1.5 inch. This is a basic neck depth. Okay, for the neck depth, you go down by 1.5 inch highest, except, like I said, we are working on beginner project. Okay, so I'll mark 3 inch for the width. Then I'm going to go ahead and connect like this. I'm gonna connect it up like this. You can use 1 inch, okay? You can use 1 inch, and you can use 1.5 inch. I'm gonna connect these points up. Now I'll measure up whatever I have from this point to this point and divide it into 2, which we already know that is 7.5 divided by 2 is going to give me 3.075. Now, in some cases, what most people like to do is they just connect it from the outside. But before I go ahead and connect that part from the outside, I'm going to put 1/4 of my round bust measurement, which is 35 divided by 4, is going to give me 8.075. In some cases, what people do is they just connect it from the outside. But I've realized that each time I connect it from the outside, it kind of gives me that perfect look at that botch at the back. So I will always like to come here and go in by 0.25, okay? 0.25. Okay, so I've just gone in. I'm going to connect these points up like that. Can you see that? Okay, that is going to eliminate any funny look that your armhole is going to be giving you. Any funny look, any botch around there. Make your armhole to be seated very, very good and perfect. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect this up like you can see me doing right here. Okay, can you see that it is not too deep? All right, like the front. Now I'm going to go ahead and measure from the shoulder to the waistline, which is 16, like we did for the front. I'm going to go ahead and mark the line, which was 16 that we did for the front. Because we're marking this, it's just a basic, it is not going to be having if you check, the front did not have any side that, so you will not be you will not be worried that maybe it's going to be the front is going to be shorter than the back. Okay, so I'm going to put my nipple to nipple, which is 7 divided by 2 is going to give me 3.5 inch. And if you realize that here at the back there is no bust point, you connect it all the way to the chest line, your dart line. I'm going to mark a 1/2 inch both sides like I did for the front. I mark here, and I'm also going to come here and do the same thing here. Now I will connect it now to meet the chest line. I'm going to do the same thing here. Okay, we have this. We are going to go ahead now and put 1/4 of the round waist, which is 30 divided by 4. It's going to give me 7.5. Let me see. Connect it up. Remember, I said you should always replace back this dart if you are going to use this pattern to curl. Remember to replace back the dart. So we have the back basic pattern. All right, so when you are cutting this, whenever you're cutting this on your fabric, you cut this on fold. This part here is supposed to be on the fold. So same thing, the same length, as you can see. So I hope you find this tutorial helpful. If you do, don't forget to like, comment, and share. So if you check the neck depth, so we have the front and the back together. If you check the neck width, the neck depth of the front, you'll notice that it's much deeper than the one of the back. And if you also check the armhole, you also notice that it is much deeper than the one of the back. So I hope this was helpful to you. Don't forget to follow me for more. This is our day 1 lesson for beginner project. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you on the next project. Bye bye.